And do this. All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome again. Good to have everybody here. We are in the sixth sense of Think and Grow Rich, part three. So yesterday, we finished up with reading we talked yesterday about the invisible councils and the people that he had a conversation with and talking with them. Today's going to be a short day, shorter than most because I've got to get Molly to the vet for to have her tubes tied so she doesn't have puppies. I'll make sure she's okay. So I got to get her to the vet early today. So we're going to move along. The world will soon need your services. So we talked about his invisible counsel yesterday and what he would say to them and what he would ask them and the traits that he would ask them. He would ask them the traits that they're good at. Right? That's one of the things that Hill learned in understanding and creating his invisible counselors, his own mastermind. So, some 6 months later, after I discontinued the practice, I had awakened one night, or thought I was, when I saw Lincoln, right? This is how we ended yesterday. Saw Lincoln standing at my bedside. He said, the world will soon need your services. It is about to undergo a period of chaos, which will cause men and women to lose faith and become panic-stricken. Go ahead with your work and complete your philosophy. That is your mission in life. If you neglect it for any cause whatsoever, you will be reduced to the primal state and be compelled to retrace the cycles through which you have passed during thousands of years. Pretty powerful stuff, right? And this got published as woo-woo out there, kind of magical, mystical kind of conversations. This got published and it's still in published today and means, maybe it's beginning to mean what Hill understood it as, because it probably it wasn't grasped as easy as it was, I'm guessing, back in 1937 when it was published. I was unable to tell the following morning whether I had dreamed this or actually been awake, and I had never since found out which it was. Yet I do know that the dream, if it were a dream, was so vivid in my mind the next day that I resumed my meetings the following night. At our next meeting, the members of the cabinet all filed into the room together and stood at their accustomed places at the council table while Lincoln raised the glass and said, "Gentlemen, let us drink a toast to a friend who has returned to the fold." Can I share with you? I hope this makes sense. That when you are at your best, when you have undeveloped all of the things that don't work, when you have stopped doing the things that harm you, hurt you, delay you, procrastinate you, you are welcomed back to the fold. You know, there's the prodigal child, the story of the prodigal child, the prodigal son. Sends his kids off. Kid goes off, leaves everything. One kid stays home, takes care of the farm, takes care of the lambs, takes care of the everything, and he does everything at the ranch and everything else. And when the son who comes back, poor, broke, nothing, the father throws a party. The prodigal son is returned. And because the son is returned, they have a feast unlike any they've ever had. And the son that's there is like, well, I did all the work. I did all of this. I did all of that. Why is he getting a party? Because he's returned home. When you return, this is the thing that seems mystical and not understandable. The thing that seems mystical and unbelievable to most is that when you step into your greatness, when you step into that part of you that is meant for the most of you, you are welcomed home. That's, maybe it's metaphorical, what's going on with this conversation. To me, it means that when you truly continue your counsel, continue your conversation, when you step into that greatest version of you, you are welcomed home. That part of the universe needs you, wants you. That phrase, what you are seeking is seeking you. Greatness is seeking you. You deserve to have greatness thrust upon you. You deserve to live in a lifestyle that is absolute dream in nature, and yet fulfilled in the physical world, transmuted into your physical reality. At our next meeting, the councils of my cabinet all filed into the room together and stood in their custom places at the council table, while Lincoln raised a glass and said, "Gentlemen, let us drink a toast to a friend who has returned to the fold." After that, I began to add new members to my cabinet, and now consists of more than 50. Among them, Christ, St. Paul, Galileo, Copernicus, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, Homer, Voltaire, Bruno, Spinoza, Drummond, Kant, Schopenhauer, Newton, Confucius, Albert Hubbard, Brand, Ingersoll, Wilson, Williams, James. This is the first time I have had the courage to mention this. Therefore, I have remained quiet in the subject, because I knew from my own attitude in connection with such matters that I would be misunderstood if I described my unusual experience. Imagine that. I have been emboldened now to reduce my experience to printed page, because I am now less concerned about what they say than I was in the years that have passed. One of the blessings of maturity is that it sometimes brings one greater courage to be truthful, regardless of what those who do not understand may think or say. Lest I be misunderstood, I wish here to state most emphatically that I still regard my cabinet meetings as purely imaginary. Yet I feel entitled to suggest that, while the members of my cabinet may be purely fictional, and the meetings exist only in my own imagination, they have led me into glorious paths of adventure, rekindled an appreciation for true greatness, encouraged creative endeavor, and emboldened the expression of honest thought. Somewhere in the cell structure of my brain is located an organ which receives vibrations of thought, ordinarily called hunches. So far, science has not discovered where the origin of the sixth sense is located. Yet, this is not important. The fact remains that human beings do receive accurate knowledge through sources other than physical senses. The fact remains that human beings do receive accurate knowledge through sources other than physical senses. Such knowledge generally is received when the mind is under the influence of extraordinary stimulation. So remember, that could be positive or negative. It didn't say positive stimulation. It didn't say not negative stimulation. It said extraordinary stimulation. Such knowledge generally is received when the mind is under the influence of extraordinary stimulation. Any emergency which arouses the emotion and causes the heart to beat more rapidly than normal may, and generally does, brings the sixth sense into action. So you see why when he talks about desire, a white burning desire, this frequency of vibration, this thought that you're having, this excitement, this enthusiasm, you're going to get fired up, right? We talk, get fired up, get moved on, right? So we do at events and meetings. We want to get you inspired. Challenge is we don't keep that going. We don't have the visualization to keep that going. We've got to paint a picture that's so clear, that's so strong, that when we read it, we're like, dang, Skippy, that's what I want. That's what I'm talking about. Because if that vision doesn't exist, it's never going to inspire somebody else. I don't want somebody to want my dreams. I want somebody to want my want. I have a want. I want you to have your want. I want you to have your own want. I want my wanting to inspire you to want more. You can't have what I want, but you can have my want. Does that make sense? That's what this is saying. And when you have your want in place, things change. Any emergency which arouses the emotions and causes the heart to beat a little bit more rapidly than normal may and generally does bring the sixth sense into action. Anyone who has experienced a near accident while driving knows that on such occasion, the sixth sense often comes to one's rescue and aids by split seconds in avoiding the accident. These facts are mentioned primarily, these facts are mentioned preliminary to a statement of fact which I shall now make, namely, that during my meetings with the invisible council, I find my mind most receptive to ideas, thoughts, and knowledge which reach me through the sixth sense. I can truthfully say that I owe entirely to my invisible counsel full credit for such ideas, facts, and knowledge as I have received through inspiration. I can truthfully say that I owe entirely to my invisible counsel full credit for such ideas, facts, or knowledge as I received through inspiration. On scores of occasions when I have faced emergencies, some of them grave in my life, when my life was in jeopardy, so grave that my life was in jeopardy, I've been miraculously guided past these difficulties through my influence of my invisible counsel. My original purpose in conducting council meetings with imaginary beings was solely that of impressing my own subconscious mind through the principle of auto-suggestion with certain characteristics which I desire to acquire in more recent years. My experiment has taken on an entirely new trend. I now go to my imaginary councils with every difficult problem which confronts me and my clients. The results are often astonishing, although I do not depend entirely on this form of counsel. You, of course, have recognized that in this chapter that this chapter covers a subject with which a majority of people are not familiar. The sixth sense is a subject that will be of great interest and benefit to people whose aim is to accumulate vast wealth, yet need not claim the attention of those whose desires are more modest. The sixth sense is a subject that will be of great interest and benefit to the person whose aim is to accumulate vast wealth, but it need not claim the attention of those whose desires are more modest. You know, when we talk about don't tell your friends your dreams, right? Napoleon Hill has said it many times. Don't ever pick your head up. Don't pick your head up because one of your cousins or friends or family is looking to shoot it down. Don't stand up above the crowd. Don't get above the crowd. Don't become something bigger, something better, something more important. Stay low. Keep your head down. Stay out of trouble. See, when you decide you're going to go create vast riches, whatever that is, vast riches could be more, right? I want more money. How many of you would be okay with more money? $1 could be more money, right? $10, 10,000. The universe doesn't care whether it's 10,000 or 10 million. It doesn't. It really doesn't. It's available to anyone. The key you have to do is provide the value for it, right? So the sixth sense allows you to have the conversation without those who don't understand what it is you're doing. See, as you mature, listen, there's a lot of people, there's people I've worked with for 20 years. 20 years I've worked with them. 20 years. They still can't tell you what I do. Well, isn't that bad that they can't tell you what you do? No, because I know what I do. They can't tell me because they don't vibrate at that frequency. It's much like trying to understand how somebody speaks a language. If I were to listen to somebody who spoke Arabic, I don't understand it at all. I could be around it for 20 years. There's people who live in country, expats who live in country for 20 years and never pick up the language. They can understand and get by, but they in 20 years they don't learn to speak the language. In however many years old you are, you haven't learned to speak success through your mind. You understand success, you understand what it looks like on Instagram and Facebook and all of that and the different images, and you understand what it is to put a dream board together and have all of this stuff. You don't speak the language. You're not speaking the language to activate your own success. You keep confusing strategy with state, and that is the challenge.
Bones.
We're going to end there. That's the big challenge, is that you do all of the work. Listen, you're putting up all of the signs and everybody thinks, oh my God, you have tremendous success. You're doing all of the things for success. You're doing the things, you just can't speak them. You don't understand the language. When somebody says, okay, translate that to me, tell me what that means. I don't know. Questions, comments, thoughts, takeaways. What'd you learn? What'd you like?
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Michael.
So yeah, this takeaway this morning, I haven't gone back to this chapter in a bit, right? I forgot about my invisible counselors. Kind of bury that idea in the back of my mind, and I like how you are able to confidently talk about it because it's one of those ideas where, the first time you read this book, you question, okay, am I crazy? Is this guy crazy? Is this even what is this guy saying, right? And then the second time
Right.
you read it, well, actually, the first time you read it, you won't even acknowledge what he even said. Then the second time and the third time, and then the fifth time, you're like, okay, maybe I'm crazy. I'm kind of not sure if I want to share this with others. And then, finally get in a group of a mastermind where people are talking about this stuff, and you're like, wow, like, I haven't gone back to my invisible counselors in months, honestly. And so just remembering, who I had in my counsel, the mentors that I do have in my mind that I can always refer to whenever I'm just faced with any situation. You get hit with the unknown, and
Yep.
you're like, okay, who in my counsel would be the best person to refer to deal with this situation? Because at the end of the day, you're going to need faith. You're dealing with the unknown, and I know there's some book I read or some mentor that I've talked to that has been through this exact same situation before, and what would Sean say, or what would Bob Proctor say, or what would Napoleon Hill say in this situation? So just being reminded of the council, that was definitely a big takeaway, and something that would definitely be a great idea to go back to whenever I'm faced with something where it's like, okay, what would be the next move here?
Powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the thing, Michael, that you can do is you can, when you set up your morning, because there's something also known that is as ethereal and as woo woo out there in the farthest reaches, are the Akashic records. And the Akashic records have everything that's ever been done, anything that's ever been done, and anything that will ever be done is in the Akashic records.
Mhm.
You can have your counsel, you can have a council member who's an Akashic record expert. You don't need to know it, but say, hey, listen, anything I need to prepare for today? Oh, yeah, you've got some interesting stuff coming up today. Really? Yep. Let's make sure you're prepared for it. Because even how many of us have heard the phrase turning lemons into lemonade? So if we've heard that phrase, we've turned something that seemed bad into something very powerful. That's all your future is, right? Jim Rohn said, what they asked Jim, what are the next 5 years going to be like? He says, well, probably a lot like the last 5 years. A lot of opportunity and a lot of chaos mixed with opportunity and opportunity for great wealth. That's what the next 5 years hold. We've just got to be prepared for it. And we can be prepared for it to be able to see the good in everything. And when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. It's not about doing certain things, it's about doing things in a certain way. All of these truths are truths no matter what happens in our future. So when you have access to the Akashic records and you say, hey, listen, anything I really need to be prepared for, so that if I tell you it's coming, if I tell you all of a sudden, Michael, in Miami, it's going to snow tonight, you'd be like, nah, yeah, no, it's going to snow. I'm telling you. And then you start to look at the radar and you're like, oh my gosh, we're getting a cold snap. It's going to be 26 degrees and rain. We're going to get snow. You can prepare for it. You're not surprised. This isn't the 1300s when we didn't know the rain was coming or the tornadoes were coming. So we have the same capability and capacity, and you have the same access to that with your invisible counsel. So I love it. I love that it rekindled that. Love it, love it, love it. AJ, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Finally in my regular setting, I guess.
There you go.
Like here, joint. I wanted to ask you something
Sure.
as it relates to today's lecture. I've been dealing with this idea that actually this question, what is the right course of action? Because you hear someone talk about attracting a law of attraction and so on, and the prerequisite is for you to be extremely vocal and confident in it. And then there's other people that say that you should be very quiet and you should keep it to yourself, and it's like one of your own little kind of private prayer moments.
Right.
And then I'm just kind of battling with myself to understand which path is the right one. Should you be vocal with it and go out there, or should you keep it to yourself?
In regards to what? Your dreams?
Yes, in regards to being vocal about your DMP, about your vision, about your dreams, about what you want to do, and so on.
So so those two schools of thought, one where it's to be vocal is to brag. 9 times out of 10, those people never get anywhere. They tell everybody their dreams, they tell everybody their wants, they're never held accountable, and they have nobody to hold them accountable. And then you've got to deal with all that negative conversation, the negative thought process, what people say about you behind your back.
Yes.
You can go live, you can go express your deepest desires, your wants, your dreams. Ask me how I'm doing.
How you doing?
Outstanding. See, that's my DMP. That's, you know, when you're going to ask me that question. So can you be of such a state that when people get around you, they already know how they already know how they need to be in state. They need to be in frequency to be with you. See, I can be around people. Doesn't mean they have to be with me. It's kind of like when we get on the tram from the airport, either from the terminal back to the baggage claim, or we get on that bus where there's 40 of us that got off the same plane, coming to the same location, but every single one of us is going to do something different. 300 people, 400 people land in Atlanta, go through Custom Border Patrol, CBP, and every one of you are on the same plane, and none of you talked. You're on the same plane. You spent 7 hours together. Nobody talks. And then you land in the same place and everybody scatters like ants. Same thing happens with our goals. Why don't you tell everybody on the plane? Why don't you tell strangers about it? Well, they wouldn't understand it. Do you think the people who know you, at least the people who don't know you, might have a better chance of understanding it than the people who know you, because you are changing your identity. You are saying right in front of them, I'm not going to be this loser anymore. That's what they're hearing. They're like, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. You should continue to be that loser. You should do what I know you could do, so I don't have to think a new story about you. Which is why I would tell the people around me when I was building my network marketing businesses, I would say, hey, I'm about to go on a journey. And on this journey, I'm going to fight the tigers and climb the mountains and get gold medals. I'd like to invite you along. And people would start to have a dream. People would start to dream again. The reason you can't tell people your stories, the reason it would serve you to not tell people your dreams, your visions, your wants, your wishes is because they don't know the story. So, can you tell them? Sure. Do you want to toughen your skin? Do you want to toughen your resolve? Sure, tell everybody. If you want to go be the millionaire next door, I wouldn't tell anybody. I would tell those people who would inspire you, who would make you feel important, who've got your back. Don't know what you're gonna go. Listen, that sounds crazy to me, but I'm here. I'm in your corner. Tell me what you need. You need a ride somewhere? I'll take you. I don't know what the hell you're doing, but I'm in your corner.
I was just thinking about that.
Yep.
To kind of pick topics with people, if that makes sense, and just kind of have
Well,
the understanding of
tease them.
what kind of conversation. Yeah.
Tease them. See if they're open to that idea. Hey, if you could, if I handed you this magic stick, and you could paint your future, what would it look like? Ugh, I don't know. I'm going to be stuck here for 30 years. Okay. Can I have my stick back? Because that's a magic stick. I don't want to lose it with you. You got to offer people the chance to expand their capability. What happens is that when somebody who's focused, has their DMP, has clarity, has vision, has everything else, talks to somebody who doesn't, you're literally speaking another language. And you're embarrassing them, and you're making them feel bad that they're not as good as you because they think they're better than you in certain areas. And if they don't think they're better than you, they complain about you so they can be better in their own mind.
Makes sense. Oh, just one thing I wanted to say,
Sure.
and this goes to Michael as well, so Michael, pay attention. Had a conversation with a client last night because I started working in sales again. Sean knows why. Anyhow, had a conversation with the client last night, and for the first time in probably, I've been in sales since 17, so that's 7 years now. In 7 years, the first time I've stopped being the attack dog that you see on TV and movies and what you see on Instagram, that you got to be this attack dog to work in sales and you got to be this pit bull and whatever. That's just hogwash. I applied what I learned from Sean in my sales conversations, and the lady started crying on the phone. She started crying so bad that at one point I was like, "You want to take a break?" Because she just opened up. I said, "Okay, so we have some opportunities for you to invest money, right? We're gonna figure out which one suits you the best, and you're gonna choose what suits you best." And I said, "But why would you even want to make money?" She was like, "What?" Because she was probably expecting for an attack dog. She was expecting for me to ask for the clothes or whatever. I said, "No, why would you even speak to me today?" And then she started talking about her life and her story and so on and so forth. And then I said, "Well, okay, well, in that case, let me connect you my analyst, and he will tell you more about these particular stocks and these particular, opportunities or whatnot, and we can get you going." And she's like, "Oh my gosh." And she said something very interesting. I immediately remembered what you say a lot of times, which is that for the first time, I felt as if I wasn't manipulated by the salesperson. And I said, well, the reason for and I said, well, the reason for it is because I personally, and I shouldn't be saying this to you, so if my upper management sends you an email or something, please don't tell them I said this. But I personally don't care if you're gonna do the sale with me or not. I couldn't care less. She's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I'm here to provide service for people that want the service." I'm one of the huge fans of the idea that sales is not about turning a no to a yes, but kind of fortifying the maybe into a yes. So I don't really care if you're gonna go with the sale or not. Honestly, I don't. She was like, "Oh my gosh." And then she said, "Okay, let's do it." So I immediately remembered you when you said that when you start learning this stuff, and by this stuff I mean the art of speaking human, when you start to learn this stuff, you gotta swear you're gonna use that for good. And that was a 20,000 US dollar sale, by the way. that I got the commission on. And you really got to swear to use this for good, because people are going to open up. People are going to start talking about their trauma. People are going to start talking about their life and what really concerns them, right? So I said, okay, you know what? Let's put you in a group that's going to be trading with extremely low risk. You're going to make a couple of percent a month. It's going to be extremely low risk because you cannot afford any risk right now. It's like, oh my gosh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's do that. Yes, let's do that. I'm like, okay, we're going to put you on something that's low volume, nothing crazy, no cryptocurrency or whatever. We're going to put you in some low performing stocks. They're going to make 1 or 2% a month, and you're going to be good to go. She's like, okay, oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you. So that was crazy. But to everybody that does sales and is on the call right now or is listening to this recording, if you hang around Sean for a while, like I've been hanging around him for a while now, I think it's a while.
Yeah.
You're gonna come across some very interesting ideas. And I'll tell you one thing, that conversation looked like, sounded like nothing like what people think is a sales conversation. Sounded, acted, nothing like that.
And then add
Just
to it the
talking.
dollar figure of $20,000. It sure as heck didn't sound like that.
No. No, we talked about she wants to bring her grandkids to Disney in the US, and she's from Europe, so that's going to cost a lot of money. And we said, okay, so let's do this and let's build that, and then maybe you're not going to do that today, but maybe in a year or 2 years you're going to be able to do that with residual income from here and so on. And she was like, oh my gosh, thank you. It was good stuff. So this
How
stuff,
much pressure did you feel under?
nothing.
So do you think if law of attraction is true and our thoughts can influence our day and we can be influenced by the day, do you think that your no pressure feeling translated to her?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, so what I used to do is they make you stand in the office. Oh yeah, they make you stand, they make you walk around. You cannot sit ever. In the places I used to work in, you cannot sit down ever. If you sit down, you're gonna get fined. Like literally, like your manager is gonna fine you. You cannot sit down. It's all about transference of enthusiasm, but in a bad way, because they just teach you how to be this attack dog and just run around the office, scream and yell on the phone or whatever. Kind of sell on hype, pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
without absolutely no knowledge of sales and negotiations and NLP and business 101 and whatever. Just hype, And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm in a different position now. I'm not, how should I put this? I'm not as hungry, or I should say, I am hungry for money as I used to be now when I was 17, 18, 19. I'm just more effective now. And I know something that I definitely did not know back then. So I'm totally comfortable now because of the work we do. And I salute you for this, sir. I'm totally comfortable right now with not making a sale, which was an idea that just brought Armageddon if you said this to 19-year-old AJ. Not making, are you kidding me? You gotta, you gotta, you gotta talk to them until they hang up, and you gotta call them again. And I mean, just attack dogs. I mean, just wild Rottweilers, I guess. And nowadays, I'm just like, yeah, okay, I'm here. I'm gonna give you what you want, and if you want it, you want it. If you don't want it, see ya. Because I heard you say that to prospects that you do business with. When you say, how can I help you? And they say, well, you can say, okay, anything else before I go? And you're totally comfortable with not making the sale or whatever the term is in your business because you know what you bring and the right prospects are going to come anyway. So I was just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So thank you for
I love
helping
it.
me
And
do pressureless sales, which is a total crazy idea, I guess.
well, here's the thing. You are more hungry now for money. The difference is you're not starving.
That is true as well.
emotionally.
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
that's the key, is if you can show up, I'm hungry. I'm Les Brown, hungry. I'm hungry. I'm just not going to starve with somebody I know who can't feed me. Does this make sense? Is this bringing value? Not really. Okay. Anything else before I go? I'm not going to waste another second until they're ready to hear. I'm not going to change who I am because I can't be somebody else. There's a lot of people who try to be somebody else, even in setting their own dreams. I'm going to be that rich person. I'm going to act like them. I'm going to act like. Why not step into your own version of your success? That's why we don't have it. That's why people spend 5 years trying to break a goal, 10 years trying to break a goal, 15 years, 20 years, because they never step into the version of them that's rich. They step into everybody else's strategy and protocol and trainings and ideas. When you step into the version of you that's rich, you'll be more hungry than you've ever been. You're just not starving. So
that is true as well. I am in a completely different situation right now, mentally, financially. I don't care, quote unquote, if it's going to be a bad month or a good month or an excellent month to a certain degree, because I got, I got money now. So I'm not that, I'm not starving. For sure.
right.
So, and an idea I was thinking about this morning as I was knowing what I was going to talk to you about. I am super grateful. I'm beyond grateful for the fact that you taught me this and are continued to teaching me this in my early 20s. I am really interested to see how my brain will think as the years come. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, and you are welcome. It's my joy, my privilege. You get to have this. You're the one doing the work, right? We're chipping away the things that got you to here. And now we're allowing you to step into the things that are going to get you to there exponentially faster. Right? I'm an accountability coach of exponential expression. I compress time. That's all I do, is I compress time. And most people don't want the time compressed. They want to go through their pain. They want to go through their misery. They want to say, I have a 20-year story of pain and suffering. Great. Let me know when you got the t-shirt. And when you're tired of wearing that, we'll put it on a new t-shirt. That's all. So I love it. Congratulations. And that's awesome. And, it's kind of odd. It seems kind of different when your prospects cry. Yet in network marketing, what do we always say? Their why needs to make them cry. Your why should make you cry. Not really. You have no permission to hear somebody's why unless they give it to you. And she gave that to you. She gave you the story. She gave you the reason. She gave you the why. And now she's buying for her why, not for ours. So congratulations. That seems almost too perfect of a story, yet that's how every conversation can go and will most likely go. Right? And you'll have those moments where you'll say, outstanding. Hey, listen, anything else before I go? Well, you're leaving?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had 3 prospects come in yesterday. One didn't pick up ever. One picked up and told me to piss off. And then the third conversation was a success. So it's, just mindless stuff. It's just effortless at this point. So thank you. Sales master Miyagi.
Wax on,
Sales,
wax off.
Sales coach Carter.
Sales
thank
on,
you.
sales off.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anyone else? Last one, then I've got to run. I've got to load up my Maoli. Okay. I love you guys tons. 11 o'clock, the doors open. 11:30 conversation starts. 11:30 to 1 and 11:30, 12:30. Yeah, 11:30 to 1. We'll see you all, for those of you that can make it, at the Purpose Code Challenge, Understanding Your DMP. Day 1. This is both regular conversation and VIP conversation. So if you're not part of the VIP, no worries. But yeah, there's a lot here in day 1 opening session. You've made the decision to be in the room, not just to listen, but to transform. Are you ready for some transformation? VIP isn't a proximity about me. It's about a closeness to your next identity. This is where the name that we've never dared. This is where we name what we never dared say in public. Isn't that funny? We were just talking about that. All right, everybody. I love you tons. I'm your head brain training, brain scrambling. Let's do our purpose code misfit training. I'll see y'all where?
At the next
next
At the next event. Somebody give me some Costa Ricas.
Pura vida.
Pura vida. We love you, Mark. And some Lydias.
Peace be with us.
Peace be with us all. And the queen of helping you find your purpose and break the code, Jessie Lee Ward.
Boss.
Boss Lee. We love
Boss
you,
Lee,
girl.
baby.
And a little white fluffy.
Girly.
All right, everybody, go have some fun today. We'll see you here in just a little bit. Doors open 11. Talk to you.